up, YouTube? Vince the Prince again here with another Power Rankings Week 5. Let's get right into it. Obviously, I'm going to bring up the grading criteria. Again, guys, make sure that you understand we're going on offensive and defensive grading. Points scored, points allowed, offensive and defensive efficiency, strength of defensive and offensive matchup. This is not based on sole records. Yes, records plays a factor into it. You're not going to have an 0-4 team in the top 10. You're not going to have a 4-0 team, outside of the top 10 for obvious reasons. Obviously, if a team is playing that great, 4-0, 3-1, 2-2, but playing both offensively and defensively great, just having some tough games, you might see them in the top 10. But just wanted to make that clear. Let's get right into it. Moving up at number 1, I have the Philadelphia Eagles. Yes, they are back at the number 1 spot. They've crawled their way back up here from my first week 1 video where I had them at number 1. So it always comes around, And this is one of the teams that I'm talking about. 4-0, obviously beat Tampa Bay, one of their toughest matchups to date. They played well on the defensive side. You could say that. Tampa Bay has a great offense. Obviously, a couple injuries, but, Tampa Bay played their best. So did Philadelphia. Not so much on the offensive side, though. Obviously, still some troubles there with Devontae Smith, as well as A.J. Brown. Goddard got in the mix there, played a tremendous game. So sad that I sat him on Dynasty. Could have won that game in the Dynasty League, but it is what it is. Anyways, Philadelphia, a great team. Saquon's there. Jalen Hurts is there. Obviously they have guys coming in and out of the wide receiver position at the third spot there. That makes a difference, but they still need to figure out on offense, right? But they are 4-0, and their wins are very, very prominent. Obviously, this one against Tampa Bay. Obviously, three other wins before this as well, with very good comebacks in there. So now the Philadelphia Eagles can say that they come back in at least 2. But going up against Denver, whose record should be updated there, and it should be at 2-2. So Denver got the big win against the Bengals, and now they come into Philly, a very tough place to play. And I think Philly should win this game on Sunday at 12. Let me know down in the comments, do you think the Eagles are the true number 1 contender again? Are they going back to the Super Bowl? Let me know. At number 2 here, I have the Detroit Lions. Obviously, I've had them at 2 before. They were at 3 last week. They beat the Doonies out of Cleveland like an NFC North team should, right? Anyways, 34-10, a very easy win for them. Offense was clicking. Defense was also clicking. You can't say that the Detroit Lions are learning from their mistakes and getting better as it goes along. Obviously, I think they'll continue to stay somewhere here in the top 5 as long as they continue to play their game. They are 3-1. The one loss there a couple weeks back happens, obviously, against a divisional rival. You can't really blame those losses. The Seahawks have one, as well as the Rams as well. So it is what it is. But the Detroit Lions played well last year. They're coming into this year playing well, have a lot of stars on the offensive side, as well as now on the defensive side. Hutchinson is healthy, and a couple other guys are coming into the woodworks there and making a difference. So I do believe Detroit coming into this game against Cincinnati should be a fairly easy game in my opinion. Cincinnati cannot get anything going. They're averaging around 200 yards per game, and that is horrendous. Jamar Chase doesn't look like himself. Amon-Ra St. Brown looks exactly like himself. Williams looks like himself. Gibbs, Montgomery, when he's in there, looks like himself. Jared Goff has all the weapons he needs to actually look good. So I think the Detroit Lions should continue to play well. I wouldn't see them moving down unless these teams below them have just a spectacular game and Detroit doesn't win in the fashion that I think they should. Let me know, is Detroit a Super Bowl contender this year? We'll see. At number 3, I have the Buffalo Bills. A decent statement win. It looked like New Orleans almost got the best of them here and there. Obviously, it wasn't a super close game throughout the entire game, but only winning by 12 points. Obviously, I expected them to win by what they were listed as on Sleeper, winning by 17 or more. But it is what it is, right? A win is a win. They are a 4-0 team, but they did not play better on both sides of the ball as the Lions did, a 3-1 team. So, like I said earlier in this video, it's not about just solely record and who's undefeated, being the top, teams in my power rankings here, but Buffalo is playing good. I cannot say that they're not. Defense is where it kind of falters. Offense, it falters there too. But 4-0 nonetheless, getting wins where it's needed. Not the toughest schedule in the beginning of the year, but there was some tough games that they came out and won, especially against Baltimore there. So you cannot deny that the Bills are a great team. Obviously, they need to see who is going to be their wide receiver one. Is it Khalil Shakir? Is it Keon Coleman? Is it Dalton Kincaid at the tight end position? Is it Cook? Let him cook. He's a great receiver as well at the running back position. So, like I said, they just don't know who their wide receiver one is, but it doesn't seem to be phasing them and the teams that they're playing. They keep getting wins. They keep playing well on both sides of the ball, just enough to get the dub. And going into a divisional game at home next week against the England Patriots. I think this is going to be a good one. Drake May has been playing well. Josh Allen has been playing well. Both defenses are fairly matched up pretty well, in my opinion. But both offenses are not as equal. Yes, New England just put a beat down this past week, but that wasn't the Bills. So they are coming into Bills Mafia up there in the northeastern side of the U.S., and it should be a good one. Coming into this October weather, might be a little bit cooler. No snow yet, I'm assuming, but this should be a rough and tough running game with the pass meddled in there. I'm looking forward to this one at Sunday Night Football, and you should too. Rising up very high, we have the Los Angeles Rams moving up a total of 7 spots. Yes, a good win against an undefeated team, to say the least, the Indianapolis Colts. They are now 3-1, so they're not undefeated, and so are the Rams, 3-1. The Rams played well. Puka Nacua is on another level. He is the best wide receiver in the league at this point in time. No ifs, ands, or buts. If you say different, you just don't like stats, and you don't like footage, and you don't like the facts. So Puka Nacua plays like an elite animal. Kyron Williams plays well. Obviously, we have Devontae Adams getting in there, scoring touchdowns because Puka Nacua is not scoring them most of the time. And, obviously, Matthew Stafford still is him, passing over 300 yards in this past game, I believe. So who's to say that the Rams are not Super Bowl contenders? Who's to say the Rams are not a top 5 team in the NFL? They aren't at the top of the division right now. They're third, tied with the Seahawks and 49ers, but obviously points and divisional games is what kind of keeps that division weird, but obviously the best division in football. No team below 500, and 75% of the teams, only having one loss. And only one team in that division has a loss from outside the division. So pretty cool there. But about the Rams, obviously the offense is doing well. I think the defense needs to tighten up. Obviously, Verse on the defensive line is playing out of his mind. You have a couple other guys in the defensive tackle position that are getting penetration and getting pressures on the football there, whether it's with the running back, making tackles for loss, or, on the quarterback on who they're playing. So it's not to say that the Rams need to overhaul entirely on the defensive side, but it feels like the back end, the safeties and corners, is where this kind of, gets a little wishy-washy. And that's why the Indianapolis Colts were able to put points up. But if it weren't for that defensive line, I think maybe the Indianapolis Colts could have won this game. But they didn't. So the Rams are here sitting at 3-1 at the number 4 spot. Yes, pretty crazy as a Seahawks fan to have the Rams above the Seahawks. But they go into this next game, a home game, divisional game, Thursday Night Football tonight, make sure you watch it. It's going to be a pretty good one, even though the San Francisco 49ers are injured and continue to be injury riddled. So this one should be good. Should be very interesting for the divisional standings, because if Los Angeles Rams here, if they win, they should be number one. No matter what the Seahawks do, I believe they will have some way, somehow, a better divisional, record than us. So they should move up to one, unless something happens that I'm not aware of. But the Rams here, sitting at number 4. Should they be here? Let me know down in the comments. And here we go. Number 5, the Seattle Seahawks. Yes, obviously the Rams are above us. We don't play the Rams yet, but we will soon. So that should shake out, who's the better team in the NFC West at this point in time, at least. So moving up 5 spots here. They played well on defense, played well on offense. In my opinion, the defense faltered a little bit too much. That's why I don't have them in front of the Rams at this time. Arizona is getting better. What can I say? Their 2 losses are only 2 divisional rivals in the San Francisco 49ers last week, and now the Seattle Seahawks at the end there. Both games coming down to the last drive where the Seattle Seahawks won and the 49ers won. So obviously the Arizona Cardinals are not too far lagging behind, and that is why I think this division is the best in football at this point in time. Again, there are probably some other teams that are better than us, but overall as a division, nobody rivals this division at this point in time. But the Seahawks, Cooper Kupp needs to get more involved. Tight ends need to get more involved, even though they're getting a few passes here and there, touchdowns with A.J. Barner randomly. Jackson Smith and Jigba, keep doing your thing. You're playing well. I think we can continue to do that. The offensive line has really stepped up this year. Love to see it. Obviously, the run game needs to be a little bit better, in my opinion. Kenneth Walker plays well, needs to play better. Charbonnet is playing like dog water right now. He needs to play a whole lot better in order for us to have that 1-2 punch. Sam Darnold, stay doing you, buddy. Perfect right now. I love it. Best QBR in the league at this point in time, making very smart decisions, finding the guys that are open and pounding the rock to them. Love it. Love what I see. Defensively, the entire cornerback room needs to get their crap together, for lack of a better term. They're letting up too many passes, especially going into the third and fourth quarter. Marvin Harrison Jr. should have not caught those touchdowns, in my opinion. Again, Tariq Woolen being exposed. Witherspoon starting to be exposed. I understand that he just came off of an injury. He was hobbling a few days before that, but you're in the NFL, buddy. You're going to be playing hurt. It's time to lock down instead of being inside the box and going for the rusher or the quarterback like you usually play as a kind of rush end cornerback, I guess you can call it. He needs to definitely work more on his coverage skills. Marvin Harrison Jr. is no, bloke, but I do think Witherspoon could have gotten the best of him on some of those catches and definitely not put us in the position to almost lose this game. Anyways, next week we have the Buccaneers. Another team to really show that we can be a home team, because our home record within the past 10 games is like 1-9. Pretty insane there. I hate it, especially for Seattle fans, but it is what it is, right? Can't really do anything about the past, but now we can be better. Tampa Bay is an area to definitely show that. If we cannot beat Tampa Bay at home, I'd understand it, because Tampa Bay is really good, but they are also injury riddled. No Mike Evans, possibly no Bucky Irving. We'll find out more going into the week. Obviously, the O-line issues, having some injuries there as well. So I think this is a winnable game for us as long as we play up to our standards. We are getting Nick Eamon-Warry back at the safety position, the rookie that we drafted there. I have high hopes. I hope that Mike McDonald can get everybody squared up and ready, and hopefully we can win this game. It's going to take a lot on both sides of the ball, so having us here at number 5, I hope they don't, make a fool of me and we just get killed. So hopefully we stay here at number 5. Hopefully we move up. If we lose this game, hopefully we keep it tight, so that way we can stay within the top 10 here in the power rankings. At number 6, I have the Buccaneers. Right behind the heels of the Seahawks. I do think that they are not the better team at this point in time due to injury. If they were completely healthy with Godwin, Ibuka, Mike Evans, Bucky Irving, the O-line that they started with, this team clears our team, in my opinion, as of talent and, health-wise, just a overall better offensive unit. Defensively, I do not think they're better than us. Obviously, Vita Vea is still a force in this league, but I just don't think they're better than us at this point in time. Maybe rushing defense, but as you saw here, they couldn't hold up against Philadelphia. Philadelphia came out with the trick plays, especially on that tush push one. That was pretty cool to see them not ban the tush push this year and then have that happen. Is just a virtue of like what could happen when you don't, banish some plays. Otherwise, Tampa Bay played well. Ibuka played well. Godwin, some rust there. Had a lot of targets into the double digits, but only had like 2 or 3 catches, I believe. So definitely some areas to work on there with Baker Mayfield and Godwin. But what can you do after having a horrific injury like that? It's going to take some ramp-up time, even if he's been practicing since week 1. Tampa Bay looks good. I do think they're going to give us a lot of trouble here, especially in the passing game. If Bucky Irving is healthy, I mean, it's going to be a whole world of hurt for us because Bucky Irving is one of the best running backs in the league right now. Both after, the line of scrimmage, after contact, pass catching, probably second to only McCaffrey at this point in time. But Tampa Bay has the opportunity to just be a force in this league the entire season. Sitting at 3-1, just like the Seahawks, I do believe the Tampa Bay Buccaneers will make the playoffs. They should. There shouldn't be anything in their division that rivals it, obviously. So, in my opinion, Tampa Bay needs to keep doing what they're doing, and who knows, they just might win this game, but I hope they don't. Sitting at number 7, I have the Packers. Here they are, Reed, falling 1 spot, tying with the Dallas Cowboys in Jerry's World. So yes, you are correct. They have never lost in Jerry's World, but they've also not always won now. So that's something, to cringe at. But 40-40, this was a great game in my opinion, but not defensively for the Packers, and that's why they fell for me. Obviously, still a good defense, still probably nothing to really worry about. Dallas was just playing out of their mind, and they found every blade of grass they could to hang on to this game, and they did. Going into a tie with the Packers, who are supposed to be a Super Bowl favorite. But as you saw earlier, they have a bye week this week. So I'm mostly going to be talking about what they need to do in week 6 after their early bye week in order to move up in the rankings. Obviously, they really can't do anything this week to help them boast up, except for teams above them losing. So obviously, there's a lot of teams up there that are playing each other, like the Seahawks and Buccaneers, the Rams up there. So there's a lot of teams that could move down, but we'll have to wait and see on that. The Packers just need to figure out who is their number 1 option. Is it Dobbs? Is it, Golden? Is it Tucker Kraft? Same situation as I talked about earlier with the Buffalo Bills, but just not as, fire-powered in my opinion at most times. Jordan Love played great. I will say that. Obviously, 40 points on the board. You can't say that he played horrible. But the defense needs to tighten up for sure. And I'm pretty sure Reed is aware of that. Obviously, defensive line needs to get more pressure. You just traded for Mike Parsons. Obviously, it was a homecoming type of game. But he just didn't do all that great. Barely got a sack. And I don't really even think you can count it as a sack if you want to say that. Just because he got tackled right at the line of scrimmage, in my opinion. But the Packers need to definitely tighten up going into this next game. Obviously, the bye week here, but in week 6, they should get a win going against the Bengals way 2 weeks from now. So it's going to be a while, but they do definitely have it in their wheelhouse to go ahead and get a dub. So at this point in time, the Packers look all right, and they should be all right. So early bye week, well needed, time to get everything under wraps and be a better team in week 6. Sitting at number 8, I have, the Chargers. Another team having some trouble against an NFC East team. Again, I had these guys pretty high last week at 4, and they kind of disgraced that as well as, their expectations. Obviously, Keenan Allen didn't have a great game. Neither did, Quentin Johnson did. He had a great game, in my opinion. So, just something weird. Obviously, Hampton had an amazing game, but still losing to New York here is pretty crazy. And blame it solely on the defense. So, not really. Obviously, offense, could have played a whole bunch better. Herbert should have played a whole lot better against this New York Giants team, but obviously was getting pressured here and there. Running game looked good. Passing game, not so much. Should have definitely won this game, in my opinion. But New York gets their first win. Jackson Dart is the stunner. He even posted a picture of Madison Beer, apparently, who is dating Justin Herbert. And he took it off, obviously, for hopefully respect, but I don't think that's the case. But he ended up beating Justin Herbert and the Chargers. So Chargers have a lot to look at, obviously, mostly on the defensive side, but they definitely need to tighten up on the offensive side. They had the opportunity to just run the scoreboard up on this team, and they did not. So they lost, dropping 4 spots for me here. They are staying, obviously, in the NFC East, so hopefully they don't have another problem with another NFC East team. There's a possibility. Obviously, injuries are riddling the Washington Commanders, but if Jaden Daniels comes back and plays very well, there's an opportunity for the LA Chargers to, lose again if they just can't get it done against the Commanders. Obviously, I still think the Chargers should win this game, but any given Sunday. So Chargers need to tighten up definitely on defense, and they definitely need to just keep the ball moving. Now with Hampton playing well, now they need to keep the pass game going well every single game in order to continue to win. So Chargers, do better. Slipping in here at number 9, I have the Kansas City Chiefs looking better. Obviously, beating the Doonies out of Baltimore. I did not expect this to be that type of game. I actually had Baltimore winning this. I thought they were the better team at this point in time. Kansas City just somehow always has Lamar Jackson's number. And they did it. They killed them. It's 37-20. Pretty bad. But obviously, when in Rome, now they're going up against the Jacksonville Jaguars. And this one is on Monday Night Football. 2-2. This is their time to go, above 500, go to 3-2, beat the Jacksonville Jaguars. Jacksonville just beat the 49ers. They look a little bit more well-oiled, have a great run offense, passing the ball a lot better. Still need Brian Thomas to get in there, but Kansas City is closer and closer to becoming that team. So if they can steal another win here, go to 3-2, and then Rashee Rice comes back, fairly soon after his 6-game suspension in Week 7, there's a good possibility this team is right back in it to go after the division. The Chargers just lost. If the Chargers lose one more game and Kansas City stays with 2 losses, they are right there. Obviously, they're better than the Denver Broncos at this point in time. They're way better than the Raiders. So they could easily not win this division and still make playoffs and be somebody to toy with. So Monday Night Football, this one should be good. The Chiefs just need to continue to work and get better on offense without their stars. Because once the stars are back, it's going. And it's going to keep going. But obviously defensively, they need to tighten up a little bit. Baltimore just looks so bad. So don't know if I can attribute that to Kansas City's defense, or maybe they're just that good. So we'll see. And slipping in here at number 10, even with the loss, it was a close loss. Indianapolis Colts. So slipping in from 12th overall to 10th overall, making the top 10 now. Close loss to LA 20-27. Indy looked great again, honestly. I can't say that I was upset at their performance. Offensively, Pittman, Downs, Warren, they looked good. Everybody looked good, in my opinion, except for, obviously the running back. But you can't fault him. Obviously, LA has been historically known to have a good defensive line every single year. Jonathan Taylor can't always be, the stud of the game. So Indianapolis just needs to be a little bit better on going up against certain teams and finding out their weaknesses. They did it well, but they just couldn't finish at the end. So LA is the better team in my opinion. Obviously, they won, but Indy has a chance to go up to be 4-1 for the first time since the years that they had Peyton Manning. So obviously they already are on a historic run, not punting the ball a whole bunch of times, obviously, but this game was a little bit of a wake-up call. Now they can go do it and kill the heck out of the Las Vegas Raiders, favored by 7.5 here. I think this is going to be a good game, in my opinion, especially with Jonty finally coming back and playing well. But this also could just be a barn burner if Indy just comes out and kills. But they need their defense to do that for them. So Indy offense looks good. I think they'll continue to play good throughout the regular season. But obviously just need to play a little bit better to stay in the top 10, as they probably should. But all right there, guys, that is all for the top 10. I will be putting 11 through 20 right here. Obviously, some teams like the 49ers and Baltimore Ravens falling out. Same thing for the Washington Commanders, Denver Broncos, who have been there before. But as you can see, there are teams rising. Cowboys are rising. Yeah, Bears are rising. Steelers are rising. Can they make their way into the top 10, just like the Colts and a couple of the other teams have done? We'll see. Obviously, they need some help from the teams up there to lose. But the guys here in 21 to 32 are obviously well far away. So those teams need to do better. Obviously, hopefully, making some improvements there. The one to watch out for is definitely the New York Giants. Obviously, the Patriots looking a little bit better after that huge win against the Panthers. So a lot of teams to watch out for. And we'll kind of see what goes on throughout the season. Maybe some of these teams will find their way into the top 10. Very unlikely. So guys, again, thank you for watching this video. A little bit longer on this one, but I just had some fun with these teams falling into the top 10. And I have a lot to say. Other than that, guys, make sure you hit the like button. If you have a comment down there on why a team should be higher or lower, let me know. Roast me if you were to say that my picks in the top 10 are horrible. But if not, if you agree with me, hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe if you're loving the content that NSP is growing with. But thank you again, guys. And as we always say, keep on.